about the M23 in the DRC, it's not just some abstract conflict. It's about people, families, fighting for their very existence. Imagine being chased from the land your ancestors lived on, the land where your history is buried. This is the reality for so many caught in the crossfire in the DRC. I remember reading about Patrice Lumumba, the DRC's first prime minister. A man full of hope, assassinated because he dared to stand up for his people and their resources. It's a story that echoes through history, the powerful exploiting the vulnerable. It makes you realize, this fight in the DRC, it's not new. It's a fight for survival that has been raging for generations. And what are they fighting over? The DRC sits on a gold mine, literally. Coltan, diamonds, gold, you name it, they've got it. But this wealth, instead of uplifting the people, becomes their curse. It fuels the greed of warlords and foreign companies, leaving the Congolese people caught in the middle. So next time you hear about the M23 or fighting in the DRC, remember it's not just headlines. It's about real people, their struggles, their resilience. It's a story we need to understand, to learn from, and hopefully, one day, help rewrite. You see, the story of the M23 is intertwined with the history of the DRC. When the Belgians rocked up in the late 1800s, they drew lines on a map, creating borders that meant nothing to the people who actually lived there. Different tribes and communities, who had their own ways of life, were suddenly lumped together. It's like forcing a zebra, lion, and a giraffe to live in the same kraal. Chaos is bound to erupt. This division sowed the seeds of conflict that we see even today. The fight for land, for resources, it's not just about greed, it's about survival. It's about holding on to the last vestiges of identity, of belonging. These borders disrupted ancient systems of governance, of community, of respect for the land. Imagine being told that the land your family has farmed for generations no longer belongs to you. The pain of displacement, of being uprooted from your ancestral home, is a wound that runs deep. It festers over time, erupting in anger, frustration, and ultimately, violence. The M23, they are a product of this chaotic history. Many of them are descendants of those displaced living in refugee camps, treated as outsiders in their own country. Their fight, while complex and often brutal, is a desperate attempt to reclaim what they believe is rightfully theirs. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the minerals. The DRC is like a juicy mango that everyone wants a bite of. We're talking coltan for your smartphones, diamonds for your bling, gold for, well, everything. But here's the kicker. This wealth rarely benefits the people of the Congo. It's a familiar story, hey? Western companies with their fancy suits and even fancier lawyers swoop in, make deals with corrupt officials, and boom,